I've never heard this argument used towards me before, you know?
So you are a Muslim.
Yes, I am.
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. Okay, I want to have a good conversation.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for accepting this
No problem.
offer to have this interview. If you want to tell me, if I can ask you why you follow Islam, because I looked into Islam and I also studied Christian faith. I'm not trying to offend you in any way.
No, we're having
I
a
don't
conversation.
personally feel like Islam is from God.
Okay.
So, is there any reason that you follow Islam?
So the reason I follow Islam is that it's a very simple, logical theology. The worship of one God. It's natural for... I think we can both agree, you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim. We both agree that it is naturally innate for human beings to worship God, to believe in one God, right? Now with Islam, we get the ease of the theology that there's one God alone. The reason I don't accept the Trinity, along with my issues regarding the Bible's
Before we go to, we can go to Trinity, no problem.
No,
I am saying, the reason I am asking you is this. When I look into Islam, first of all, I see everything about Islam,
Sure, go
what
ahead.
you believe, is coming from one person, Muhammad.
Okay.
Everything, okay? So, at the same time,
Let him finish.
The message from
Let him finish.
He gave the message from
Yeah,
God.
let him finish. Let's see what he has to say.
that is what you believe, okay?
Now, that's what
He is claiming that he got the message
Okay.
from God. He is claiming that Gabriel came to him.
Mhm.
That's what he claims. So your whole belief system is based on the claim of one person. And when you look at certain things about him, that I don't think we can really trust him about spiritual things.
Why so?
Why so? Because at least one hadith which says he was at least sometimes delusional. He imagined things that never happened. So if I have to take a testimony from someone who at least one time became delusional, I don't think I will take that testimony. So you know what I'm talking about. Yes.
Okay.
I see that you are a very knowledgeable person.
So what do you mean by delusional? What incident are you discussing?
The incident, I think he had relationship with his wife, but he didn't. He thought that he had relationship with.
Which book is this narrated in?
I believe it is in Sahih Bukhari.
Sahih Bukhari?
Yeah.
Sure, if you don't mind bringing it up, because
I will.
usually when I've never heard this argument used towards me before, you
Okay.
know,
Oh.
I've had a lot of people say, you know, for example, supernatural appearances like Jibreel alayhi salam inside of Ghar Hira. That was something that people call delusion. I've never heard of this specific
Okay,
one.
let me see whether I can
Sure,
find
sure.
it quickly.
Regardless, while you're searching that up, I would like to state that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam over.
One second, brother. It's hard for me to do both. Sorry, because I want. One second.
No, he is searching it up. We'll let him search it up.
Yeah, I got it,
Got
brother.
it. Okay. Heather.
Yeah, this is narrated by
Aisha radiallahu anha.
Aisha, Sahih Bukhari.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is when
Once
he was
the
bewitched.
Prophet was bewitched, so that he began to imagine that he had done a thing which in fact he had not done.
So-
that's what I'm talking
Okay, so notice how she said she was bewitched.
He
That's
was,
the reason
he
why
was,
this
he
occurred.
was.
You know, this is something that happened out of his control. He was bewitched. It's not that he spent the entirety of his prophethood bewitched. This, if I'm correct, if my memory serves me correctly, this is during the Medini phase of the da'wah.
Okay.
I could be incorrect regarding exactly when it was, but there were things that occurred to him. He was poisoned at one point.
Yeah.
People tried to kill him. He was stoned. Things happened from his enemies.
Yeah, another one too. You see, narrator Aisha says Prophet continued for such and such period, imagining that he had slept with his wives, and in fact he did not. So that another hadith like that too. So this is not just one time. Says continued for some time.
Sure.
Yeah, check it out. Because I don't want to say something about your religion which is not, I don't want to make up something.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that even if this situation is true, right, which it probably is, it's Sahih Bukhari, I'll have to look into it, obviously. I'll have to look
Okay.
into the Arabic, have to have somebody who
Sure.
speaks Arabic to look into it.
Sure.
The point is, yani, these few incidences that occur, they're rare incidences. They're not incidences of major note. In fact, you're the first person I'm merely hearing this being used as an arguing point. with.
Oh, okay.
So usually, if something like this occurs, use this as a constantly, argued point.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is,
You can check this out.
oh,
you
no,
know,
no,
think
no.
about
I'm
it.
not saying that it's inauthentic,
Yeah.
right? And actually, the
Can I
fact that
say-
we have
can I
this,
say-
the fact that we have this recorded,
Yeah.
gives me even more evidence for Islam.
Mm.
Do you know who Aisha radiallahu anha? She was his wife.
Yeah, yeah.
She said
Young
this
ba-
to some of her
yeah.
students, who gave it to other students. They have a whole chain of narration where they accepted this information and said, okay, this is authentic, and he actually said this happened, etc. So we don't have to worry about did he, was this made up by somebody else later on or anything like that. This is just, we know
Good,
about it. Now, what this incident is, I still don't think it's worth rejecting him entirely because of these incidences. Like, they're very rare. He lived how many years? 23 years of prophethood.
Can-
And you have a couple incidences here and there where maybe something occurred to him, where
Okay.
maybe he said he viewed something that he didn't remember.
Can I say why I think this? I'm going to give you another point
Sure, sure.
along this line. Why I would say this is very key. This is key because in the Quran it says that none of my servants, Satan has no power over them.
Okay?
So if he was bewitched, then that will also question his prophethood.
So let's look at the ayah in its full context.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
when you're looking at the Quran, you have to look at it in its entirety. So, should I search it up this time?
Yeah.
Okay,
if you
here,
want.
hold on to this for me real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Indeed, my servants, no authority will you have
Yes,
over. Okay.
correct.
So let's read. Oops.
See your son?
That's my.
He's so nice. Okay, I have to because
I know he got an award for the interfaith and bringing
Oh,
to Islam to his college.
Oh, it's good. It's good. So that's why
Okay. Yep. Okay. So this is what I assumed it was, right? You will certainly have no authority over my servants except the deviant who follow you. That's the full ayah.
Yeah.
Except the deviant who will follow you.
Yeah.
And this is referring to them following them in religion. Because the next verse, right here, 43, وَإِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ لَمَوْعِدُهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Meaning, and surely hell is their destined place altogether. So what this is referring to specifically is for those who follow Satan in religion and are affected by Satan in religion. Now, for somebody to be bewitched, it's still possible for somebody to be affected. In fact, in our whole, in the Muslim community, there's the concept of ruqya. Are you familiar with ruqya?
No.
Ruqya is exorcism. It's the Arabic
Oh
term
yeah.
for
Okay.
exorcism.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not familiar.
So,
Exorcism.
exactly. You know what an exorcism is? It's just the Arabic term. We have ruqya because it is possible for a jinn, not necessarily Satan, but for a jinn to accept a human, to affect a human being. What this verse is talking about is specifically having control over them in matters of religion. The true slaves of God will not be affected by Satan in their matters of religion. They might have whispers to do sin because they are sinful Muslims. We know that. However, only those who are deviant will truly follow Satan. That is what those verses are referring to. You saw the full verses, 42, 43.
So that's what you interpret that it's.
This is
It's not really about.
No. It's not interpretation. This is what it's about. The Quran.
No, it says no authority. You know, the witchcraft, that kind of stuff is coming from Satan, right?
Well,
So if
no.
witchcraft
Okay.
affected Muhammad, so he came under satanic influence. And not only that, I remember, the satanic verse.
Are you talking about Salman Rushdie's words?
Yeah. Not Salman Rushdie, it is in the Quran, in the early hadith.
It's not in the Quran, it's
No.
hadith. Now, तुमने Yasir Qadhi का you have that episode yet? Okay.
So he's not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
Whatever he's saying, he's
So, are you familiar with Dr. Yasir Qadhi?
I am familiar.
Okay, so he in his seerah, in his biography lectures, he actually goes over this. He's a very academic-minded man.
I know.
He actually recently made a book on the Salafi movement, and it wasn't what's the word for it? I'm trying to remember that word. Polemical book. It wasn't a polemical book. It was a purely academic research book. And as a result, he actually made this episode on the satanic verses. The thing is, of those narrations, there are 3 narrations that are widespread. Of them, even the medieval scholars said, okay, only this original one is authentic. Now, I don't have the full thing in my head. It's been 2 years since I watched this video or listened to this video.
Okay.
But if you search up Yasir Qadhi, you can probably find these. Of them, 1 is authentic. I forgot the full narration. The other 2, most of the scholars have argued they're inauthentic. Right? That's the issue here. You have to look at what the ulama, the scholars of Islam, have said about some of these narrations. You can't just find, for example, if you open Tafsir al-Tabari. Are you familiar with Tafsir al-Tabari?
Yes.
Tafsir al-Tabari, old book, right?
Yes.
There are just random narrations in there. Why? Because Imam al-Tabari, his job as a historian was just to collect narrations, not whether they're authentic or inauthentic. His job was to make sure they're just in his book so that they're preserved.
Okay.
So if you go, and there's some crazy people who actually base their religion off of Tafsir al-Tabari. For example, in Tafsir al-Tabari, there's an inauthentic narration where the earth is on like the back of a turtle or a back of a rhino, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
If you look at this inauthentic narration that nobody accepts, and you base your religion off that, obviously you're going to have these crazy ideas.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Is there any early evidence that this narration was not authentic anywhere in the early, within 200 or 300 years of Islam?
Like in the first
Do you
200
have
years?
first, 100 or 200 years, any evidence that someone's claim that this is not authentic or this did not happen?
I don't know.
I think all these things,
I know.
later people found out that you see, it doesn't look nice. I think later people try to deny that.
Well, I'm not.
Tabari, on what basis you will?
Okay.
You are living, like 1400 years after.
I know, but okay,
On what basis you will deny Tabari?
Well, for one, Tabari himself didn't want his tafsir to be fully accepted. The point of his Tabari was a historian. He just collected things. That's the point of Tabari's tafsir. It's not meant to be authentic. That's the point of the tafsir. There are many other tafsir at the time that were meant for lay people. Tafsir of Tabari for the longest time has been meant for the scholars. But regarding the satanic things in general, the satanic verses, we have a tradition called isnad. Are you familiar with isnad when it comes to hadith?
Yes, but those isnads are written. No, I know, brother, I know. Don't say I.
Okay, so
he thinks that he knows me better than myself.
Here's the thing.
Let me ask you one question.
Yeah,
Let me
no,
ask you a
brother,
question.
no,
Let me ask you
I
one
think
question. Who wrote the Bible? Let me ask you a question. Who wrote the Bible?
Exactly. That's the point I'm going to get to you too,
Brother.
Who wrote
right?
the Bible?
I will answer the question. First of all, you answer the question: who wrote the Quran? Who wrote the Quran?
Who wrote the Quran? Wrote the Quran, or the Quran was revealed
Who
to?
wrote the
was
Quran?
written at the time of Prophet Muhammad
By a lot of his
writers,
companions.
and they used to read it, and he's used to
Jam
listen
karne do.
and
I
use
actually
it.
read a book on this. He's going to try
Brother,
to use something.
where is the Quran from the time of Muhammad?
Right here. Tell him.
So the Quran at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was written in multiple manuscripts. So there's a very good book called The History of the Quranic Text by Muhammad al-Azimi. So he's a muhaddith, he's a hadith scholar. I'll get back to our isnad point by very soon because Muhammad al-Azimi, he's a hadith scholar. So I had to
So
explain
do you
this.
have a Quran which has 114 chapters from the time of Muhammad?
114 chapters? Maybe. We probably have some from the times of the companions, but him
From the
specifically
time
no.
of companion, maybe Uthman or anyone like
from
that.
the time of his companions, probably.
Where?
I don't know where. They
But
probably
you
do.
think, but there is none. I have investigated
Here's
this.
okay, maybe I've investigated,
Yeah.
but what I do know is that the Quran was dispatched after the compilation by Uthman radiallahu anhu to multiple cities. So Basra, I don't know if Basra was one of them. Baghdad, Dimashq, Sana'a, Yemen, Mecca, Medina.
4 or 5 cities.
Yeah,
For
no,
instance.
not 4 or 5. I think like 7, 8 cities. Regardless, it was dispatched there.
No.
It was taught there. That's how we know it's preserved because everything matches up. The
But-
10 qira'at, we know about the 10 qira'at. They're essentially, that's another completely very, very complex topic on its own. But the 10 qira'at are essentially when those students went out to these cities, this is what they taught to their people, and etc. We know that the Quran is
Do
preserved.
you have one of those Qurans preserved right now?
Sir, with all due respect, you're throwing stones from a glass house.
No, I'm not trying to.
No,
I'm asking. You can ask
Simple
me.
answer is,
No, no.
simple answer is, if you pick up Quran from US, you
Oh.
pick up Quran in China, you pick Quran in Japan, you're not going to find
No,
any
no,
difference.
he's talking about
So-
no, what he's trying to talk about.
Later not changed.
Even
Not a single letter change.
yeah.
Yep.
So there is no 2 different Qurans.
There's no difference in Quran. Quran is one.
The qira'at is one Quran. All 10 qira'at is one Quran.
No, I am saying when you take 2 different Qurans, it will have the same
Okay,
meaning.
let me do it alone.
Same meaning.
Because yes.
Same meaning.
Same letter.
Yes,
same
yeah.
letter.
Same letter.
In
same
Arabic,
meaning?
yes, it's all the
In
same.
Arabic?
Yes, that all 10
It won't
qira'at.
change.
No. Don't try to. I know you're trying to use the 10 qira'at thing.
No,
all 10
I'm
qira'at.
going to. That's why I'm asking you.
The 10
I'm
qira'at.
I'm going to question you
No,
about that.
okay, so the 10
If you
qira'at.
make a claim.
Okay, the 10 qira'at. Let me explain it fully because they like to use partial arguments and then like throw it back.
Yeah,
at you.
please.
Yeah, so,
you
so
know,
the
I'm
10
not trying to be mean at you.
No, the 10
Yeah.
qira'at. The 10 qira'at, as I said, if one qari was sent to Baghdad, one qari is sent to Dimashq, one qari is sent to Basra, one qari is sent, etc., etc., etc. variations. I don't want to use that term, but sadly that's the term that's in my head. I had to open the book.
No
Again,
problem.
the book, The History of the Quranic Text by Muhammad Mustafa Al-Azmi, if I'm correct, A.A.M.M. So that's the name of the author. If you want to read about the actual preservation of the Quran in comparison with the preservation of the Old and New Testament, that's a very good book. I only read the Quran portion so far. I need to finish the Old and New Testament part. Regardless,
Contrary to Muslim beliefs, all the early Islamic sources shows that Quran is not preserved either by physical means or by memorization.
the reason these variant readings exist is because of the ahruf. Are you familiar with the ahruf? 7 ahruf.
What do you mean by ahruf?
So ahruf is the dialectical differences that existed among the Arabs.
Okay.
So for example,
does it, when you write it down, does it differ in any way?
in a way it does, but subhanAllah, it actually makes the meaning of the Quran even deeper.
No, I understand. Then why you claim that every letter is identical, every Quran is identical?
Because the majority of
you
the
cannot tell me both.
Because the
same
majority
time.
of musahif that you pick up around the world are in Hafs and Asim. It's the most widespread riwayah in the world. So you open Hafs in China, open Hafs in India, open Hafs in America. It's going to be the same. Open Warsh in China, Warsh in Algeria, Warsh in Canada. It's going to be the same.
Even this claim is not true. For example, Hatton Tash was able to collect 7 different Hafs Qurans in 2017.
So your claim is, I'm trying to understand, brother. I'm not trying to, put you, like a debate with you or anything. Your claim is there are different qira'ats.
No. Okay.
Yes.
And these qira'ats, for example, Hafs Quran, it will be identical. All the Hafs Quran. Riwayah of Hafs.
Riwayah Hafs. We don't say Hafs Quran because it's all part of the Quran.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Riwayah of Hafs will be identical
Hafs
to
and
other
Asim,
Hafs
yes.
riwayah.
Yes.
But it will be different from the Wash Quran or Duri Quran, other riwayah.
To call it different is a very inaccurate term.
Then
We
tell
know
me,
it
then-
was revealed in that way. In the hadith, it says that the Quran was revealed in 7 ahruf. All of them are authentic. What the Qira'at are is essentially just riwayat. You know what riwayah means in Arabic, right? Narration.
narration,
It's just
okay.
narrations of those specific ahruf that are preserved. It's just preserved. So for example, in Hafs, we say Maliki Yawmiddin. In Warsh, we say Maliki Yawmiddin. Both of these are authentic. Both of these were revealed by God to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
But are they different? So it has little difference. One will say Malik, another one will say Malik. One is owner, one is king. So in meaning it is different. That is why I asked you the question before. Will these will be different in meaning?
Is
You
the
said
meaning
there
different
would be
though?
no. It is. Honor and king is 2 different meanings. For example,
different meanings,
I can be the
however.
owner of this piece of land, right? That doesn't mean that I am the king of this land.
Yeah, but now you have both the king and the owner of the Day of Judgment revealing those to you.
Well, that
It
is
makes
fine.
the meaning deeper. That's the point of the
That is
Qira'at.
fine.
Yeah.
So what you are saying that these riwayat, different qira'ats will have words that would be different. That's what I want to say.
Very slight dialectical differences. That's what it's meant to
Yeah,
be. But the root,
diacritical
the
mark
root
will
of
be
the-
different.
maybe.
Okay? And then it
Actually,
will,
not always. Sometimes it's literally that in some dialects, the pronunciation of a word is just completely different. For example, the letter Hamza. Where what's an example of letter Hamza? Hold
the
on.
reason I'm saying is this. Say you take ba, okay? 3 bars together, 3 letters. And if you put a different diacritical mark, you can get 90 in about 20 different meaning for the same 3-letter word.
Yes.
So when you look at 2 different Qurans and the diacritical marks are different from one to another, that could generate different meaning. That's my point.
No. Okay, so the specific word, the meaning can be different. However,
Okay.
it doesn't contradict. That's the point of it. It's literally meant to add layers. It's one of the reasons why the Quran is such an eloquent book. You change Malik to Malik. It doesn't change Allah's
You may
power
think
at all.
that as eloquence, we think that as difference.
Okay, you're thinking it's different. You're
Yeah.
coming at it from your
No,
point
just
of view,
a regular
sure.
way. Yeah, it's
But
different.
the point is this isn't something that's hidden. It's something that a lot of Muslims don't know about, sure. But it's not something we hide.
This is all I want to say. We can move on. This
Sure,
is
sure,
all
sure.
I want to say. When somebody make a claim that every Quran is identical, they have to really be specific, brother, because we are living in this century where information is anyone can find. Since there are different qira'ats which have different meanings between them, I don't think you should be claiming that every Arabic Quran is identical.
Sure,
in
I don't.
That's what
I don't
I'm
think.
saying. If I, yeah.
I think that people should. I think people should go in and make sure to specify that we had the same Quran that was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The argument that every mushaf is the same, I agree. That it may be taking away some information. It becomes pop dawah. I don't like pop dawah either. I like to explain things to people. However, regardless of that point, it's just an argument people use sometimes, but it's not an educated argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why? I have no problem. You can have your argument. You can have your belief. But when somebody tell me they are making me a fool.
Okay, no. Let me go to the point of isnad. My parents need to go home. Let me go back to isnad because that's a whole issue we had before, right?
And Trinity also.
I won't bother. We don't have time for Trinity, but I'll go with isnad.
No, if you want, it's okay. Because I am questioning you. You should.
The Protestant using different Bible, the Catholic different Bible, the Evangelical using different Bible. The Bible is changed by people their own.
Brother, let me respond to that.
No.
Brother, whether it is evangelical or whatever,
It changed.
every Bible.
Let
Let me say, every Bible has same number of books in the New Testament. Same number of books, 27 books. Every Orthodox, Catholics, Orthodox, Catholics, or Protestant, 27 books. Go ahead, brother.
All right, so isnad. Isnad is fulan an fulan an fulan an fulan an sahabi an Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning this person on a sahabi and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is how we preserve our religion. In fact, this is how we know the Quran is preserved because it's something that's mutawatir. Are you familiar with mutawatir?
Go ahead.
Mutawatir means widely transmitted. It's impossible to deny this information. The Quran is so widely spread, and it's so meticulously preserved. In fact, if somebody has poor memory, they're not able to transmit hadith, let alone Quran. We're talking about hadith, which is our secondary source. So
Can I ask you a question about that? Asim, right? Asim. And
you mean Hafs teacher?
Hafs, right.
Hafs is a student,
Hafs teacher is Asim,
Okay.
right? Do you know there are difference between Asim and Hafs Quran? There are different.
No, it's not Hafs.
Teacher to student, there are different.
Yes. But it's not Hafs that's different. It's not Asim. It's not Asim that's different. It's Hafs and another one of Asim's.
I have one other. Okay, yeah.
It's another one of Asim's students. Regardless, I don't even know.
Let me get my. I don't want to lose my.
Okay, hold on. Take your mic back. We need to leave.
Oh no! I am just. You have to leave now.
Then we
You
have
want
to
to
leave.
finish with the Isnad?
Okay. Let me finish with
Yeah,
this.
right here. So.
Okay, with the Quran, with the Hadith, we have very strict Isnad. I mean, we can go on and on. By the way, it's inaccurate to say it's Asim versus Hafs. It's Hafs and the student. I know they have to leave.
Okay.
Regardless, the point I'm trying to make, we have a very meticulous tradition of preservation, and you know this.
Brother, let me say that. The Isnad, no, when I investigated this, and that's why we can continue this conversation another time, and that's what I'm going to give you this. Isnad, you don't have any Isnads written from that time. All these Isnads,
Sure, buddy, sure.
these Isnads came later.
That's untrue.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Look at Dr. Jonathan Brown.
Okay.
Dr. Jonathan Brown from Georgetown University. He's an expert on
Okay.
this. That's a very nonsensical claim, if I'm being honest.
I go to real sources, brother.